Interrupt this broadcast with an important news alert. People have gone missing near the quaint little town of... The search for them is ongoing. Tonight's tale is called Dark Hymns.
My name is Nicodemus, and I was the head story writer for the Asheville Herald. I have come to this area where a number of people have gone missing. I enter my motel room, taking in the flamboyant atmosphere of the sky blue walls with painted seagulls swarming around the towering palm trees. My watch reads 7:45 a.m., and I know it's almost time. I placed my suitcase on the bed, and I pulled out a tweed tan jacket, put it on, and left my shirt collar undone as I buttoned my jacket. A cockroach scurries across the tile floor of the bathroom. I hurry over and I step on it quickly. The pop sends shivers down my spine, and I take a step back, looking down at my victim for a moment, feeling almost guilty. And then I leave the way I came in. This town is small, and it's set up as a hub for the farmers and their family to attend religious services. I walk towards the large building, simply marked Buck Creek Fellowship. People were starting to gather outside, and I could hear singing already going inside the church. I followed the men and the women dressed in their very best into this place of worship. I took a seat in the back, and others filed in and took their seats around me. A young lady with shocking red hair stood at the front, singing and bellowing a cappella. In solemn daylight I survey. A man takes a seat uncomfortably close to me, and he leans in. That's Bethel. Such a holy voice. He takes my hand in his very firm, dry handshake. I'm Thomas. His eyes were wide, looking deep into mine, almost like he didn't want to let me go. Looked like they were begging for freedom. I'm Nicodemus, I said. Thomas's brow lifted at the name as if I had given him a gift. "Welcome to our little town, Nicodemus." I pulled my hand away, attempting to remain polite, but the man leaned in with a hushed tone and said, "Why are you here?" There was a slight threat to his voice, which concerned me. But I continued to smile, and I said, "Well, I'm just passing through. I don't think it's proper to work on a Sunday, so I'm taking the day off of my long trip. I'm just staying at the motel across the street." "It's a pleasure," Thomas said, turning toward the front as the preacher began his sermon. "What is the one thing we can be certain of above all else?" All eyes in that building were locked onto the man at the pulpit. And then the pastor looked me square in the eyes and spoke. "Everyone in this room is going to die." The pastor took a deep breath, and he began to scream about the torment of hell that awaited the non-believers. Pacing back and forth in front of this enraptured congregation, they hung on every syllable that dropped from his mouth, until then, once more he focused on me and said, "I know, saith the Lord, you will be reborn, covered in the flood of his powerful blood. Be one with me, and I will enter in and make you my home." The pastor reached out to me, and everyone turned to look. Then they began to whisper hushed, dark prayers. Something took over, and I stood up and began to walk forward. I couldn't stop. I tried to run, but I approached the front with a calm but forced smile plastered on my face. The pastor had control of every part of my body. Someone in the church began to sing. In a calm tone, the pastor spoke. "Hello, Nicodemus. We have been waiting for you." I could feel a tear roll down my cheek, and I said, in words that were not mine, "I belong to our Lord, and you are his mouthpiece." I am the cockroach. My mind screams for freedom. I attempted to just move my little finger, even a slight twitch, and it worked. I kept pressing, and finally my hands made a fist. The pastor smiled a toothy grin and presented me to his flock. "Nicodemus, you are here for a purpose." But before he could finish the thought, I swung at the pastor, hitting him in the face as hard as I could, and I ran for the chapel entrance. I burst through the doors, but people began to grab at me, ripping at my flesh and my clothes, still singing in unison the dark hymn. I was overcome by the host of people, their faces now distorted, twisted, demon-like.
While I may have escaped the falsehoods, not all were so fortunate. Like our dear friend Nicodemus, whose luck was not in the cards. Until the fire is lit again, and we have another tale to tell, please, try and sleep well.